Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, I'm still playing around here a little bit, trying to work on this a little bit better, the display here, because even though I've been using the stock one for so long, I'm wanting to change it up a little bit. Um, I'm still going to keep, most likely, I'm still going to keep the same background picture, uh, but because it shows two things I'm into, which is outer space and all that neat stuff, as well as the United States lit up in all its glory and where the populations are. So, where did it? Oh, don't tell me I accidentally got rid of it. Which I may have. So let me find it again because things just aren't. NBC. And here we go. Nope, that's not the. Here we go. This is what the one I want. Let me make this a little smaller. Okay. So let me share this map. It's not the exact one I've been using, but it is close enough. Hey, morning, Ramen. You should have a link there in your DMs. All right. The Republicans have, as of right now, 218 seats in the House, which is enough to give them their majority. There are still several races left, and it's an even split between Republicans and Democrats as to who's going to win. You got Iowa, Alaska, and California. That looks like they're going to go for Republicans. You have Maine, Ohio, and Oregon. It looks like it's going to go for the Democrats. So, but California, that's that for the Republican. That's only 89% have been counted. So that can flip rather easily because it's only a 0.2% difference. The other ones, let's see here. Ohio, maybe that could flip because it's a 0.3% difference with 94% counted. Alaska won't flip at 93% counted, but it's a 4%, it's a 3% differential. So I don't think Alaska is going to flip that. But they've still got all these other races still left out there to count. So there's still a lot of races left out there. So let's not celebrate the House being in Republican hands. Plus, the story that I'll get into later on. Like I said yesterday, hey, Digi, good morning. So like I said yesterday, I think Trump is making some mistakes this early and flooding the market with who he wants where in his cabinet. I mean, in a way, I can understand why he's doing it. If he floods the market and puts all these names out at one time, it doesn't give the media the time to concentrate on just on any one of them because they've got to split their time. They've got to pick one out of the bunch to complain about, to focus in on, versus if you announce one today, then wait 3 or 4 days and then announce another one. Well, then now you got 3 or 4 days of the media sitting there completely bitching about that appointment. But by blasting them out there all at once, shotgun blasting them, it's dividing the media up. Some are going to be here, some are going to be there. So there's not going to be any one that's going to draw a lot of national attention for the most part, or draw as much national attention. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it does seem smart, but it's also who he's picking that bothers me. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and get into it. Matt Gaetz out of the House. Strahan, the female out of New York. That's 2 House members that he's picked to sit in his cabinet. Well, we just got unofficially control of the House, got enough seats to sit in control, but now he's given up 2. And, there's no guarantee that in the special elections that those seats are going to be replaced by Republicans. And that's what bothers me. We've got to maintain, having control of the Senate is fantastic, awesome, amazing. I love it. And of the 2, if I had to have control of one or the other, I'd rather have control of the Senate. Because the Senate is where all your appointments go through. All your appointments go through the Senate. Judicial nominees go through the Senate. Your cabinet members go through the Senate. All those people that have got lifetime appointments go through the Senate. So if I had to pick one or the other, I would pick the Senate to have control of. But that being said, the House is the one that controls the purse strings. They're the ones that write the initial bills dealing with the monies. And the House is where impeachments start. Remember, the Democrats impeached Trump. They tried impeaching Trump. They were ready to impeach Trump. They had already announced impeachment processes against him before he was sworn in the first time. Yeah, did you? Stefanik, that's her name. Stefanik and Gaetz can, even though they didn't, they both could say no. I've changed my mind. I don't want to be sitting in the cabinet. Gaetz could say no. I don't want to be your attorney general. I'd rather be sitting in the House. And then that would force Trump, that would make Trump look bad. That he announced somebody, picked someone who later on changed their mind and said they didn't want the job. I mean, before you announce you pick somebody, you go to them and you talk to them. And say, yeah, do you want the job or not? Let's look at this. Now, my guess, and this is with, well, let's look at Matt Gaetz. I didn't plan on going here with Matt Gaetz first, but let's go ahead and go with Matt Gaetz. Okay, let's look at Matt Gaetz first. All right. Matt Gaetz is a bit of a firebrand. I am not a big fan of Matt Gaetz. I truly am not. I like him. He is like MTG and a few others. He's the Republicans' response to AOC. I mean, in the scenario, they don't do the job that's asked of them. Oh yeah, you can always ask them to step down. You can, I mean, Trump can fire any of his appointments except judicial. Any of his cabinet appointments, yeah, he can ask them to step down, and because he's not liking what they're doing, he can fire them. The FBI director was fired while he was uh, crossing the country in the FBI aircraft. I believe, he was heading to California. So yeah, I mean, they can fire him at any time. But then what do you do? I mean, if you were like Matt Gaetz, if you were an elected official and you resigned your seat, and remember, Matt just re-won his seat in this election. These House members just won their seats. And what are they going to do now? You know, what are they doing? You know, they just win. They've gone out. They campaign. They spent a lot of money to get reelected, and then they turn around and resign their seat to sit in a cabinet for 4 years. What's that? I mean, you know, you can't go back to being a House member after you've gone out and told all these people what that you're going to do for them as a member of the House of Representatives, and before you even get sworn in January, you're resigning. And that's why I think that's a mistake. That's one of the other reasons why I think it's a mistake. I would be madder than hell if Matt Gaetz was or Stefanik was my House member, and I'd gone out and campaigned for him and everything else to keep for them to be reelected. And then before they even get sworn in, they resign their seats. I'd be madder than hell. But anyway, and Matt Gaetz, he does have a tendency to shoot off his mouth. So let's listen to this here. Let's make that full size. Make sure I got the volume turned up. Now, this is a Turning Point event.
Pro-murder rallies, the people are just disgusting. Like, why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb.
All right. So that was a comment he made. Well, he got asked about that comment by a reporter.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
Now, of course, he's talking about women like this. Now that woman, okay, these are women that these pictures. These are women that have shaved their heads with that 4B movement. But they're also the ones that show up to the abortion rallies. But yeah, I mean, they talking about somebody looking like a thumb. This one here definitely looks like a thumb. And with their head shaved, those two, the other two look like a thumb. Hey, Mike, good morning. I don't know if what do you mean by, Digi, by that they forced his hand? Whose hand was being forced? But those comments by Matt Gaetz, those are typical of how Matt Gaetz talks. And I don't always, like I said, I don't always necessarily disagree. Trump's hand was forced. Trump's hand's never forced in doing anything. I don't believe Trump's hand's being forced in doing this. This is what I'm thinking. Supposedly, I haven't verified this fact because I just heard it this morning while I was making breakfast for the wife. That Matt Gaetz has already announced that he's resigning his seat to accept this Attorney General nomination. So if Matt Gaetz has resigned his seat already, and I don't know if there was an effective date announced or anything else, let me see if I can see something here. Matt Gaetz resigns from Congress. All right, 7 hours ago. Okay, here. Here's a story. Here's the story on Matt Gaetz, or at least a story. We'll see what this is. And remember, I have not had a chance to read this, so we're reading it together. Matt Gaetz, Trump's Attorney General pick, resigns from Congress days before possible House ethics bombshell. I think out of deference to us, he issued a resignation letter effective immediately. All right, so Matt Gaetz is no longer a member of the House of Representatives. The wife would kill me if I ever bought that rug. I like it, but the wife would kill me if I ever bought it. So the dog and cat would probably hate me too. Florida Rep. Matt Gaetz has resigned from Congress following his nomination for Attorney General. House Speaker Johnson announced Gaetz' resignation on the 13th. I think out of deference to us, he issued his resignation letter effective immediately. That caused by surprise a little bit, but I asked him what the reasoning was. He says, well, you can't have too many absences. Johnson also added per Fox News and Axios that there's an 8-week period to fill Gaetz' vacancy, according to state law. And he was in touch with Florida Governor DeSantis on the matter. I've already placed a call to DeSantis. Said, let's start the clock. We may be able to fill that seat as early as January 3rd. Wow, so that they're really going to try to have an election that fast? Because remember, the governor can fill a Senate seat, but they have to hold a special election to fill a House seat. News comes amid a health ethics investigation at Gates relating to sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, among other allegations, which he's denied. Okay, another source told the New York Times the House Ethics Committee was set to vote on to release a report of that meeting, and if approved, the report would have been published on November 15th. However, due to the resignation, the House Ethics Committee no longer has jurisdiction and continuous investigation. It's unclear whether the report be eventually released. All right. Now, the sex trafficking probe, the investigators said that they just didn't have anything to bring charges on him. Like I was explaining to the wife about this last night, I think it was the wife. One of his friends supposedly named Gates. However, his friend ended up being sent to jail for blackmailing Gates's father. This is one of the cases where the FBI and the Department of Justice was on. I mean, they was on Gates for Biden's entire 4 years. All right, let's see here. If his nomination is approved by the Senate, Gates would be one of the least qualified attorney generals in history. He earned his Juris Doctor from William Mary Law School in 2007 and briefly worked at a law firm before transitioning to politics in 2010. All right, so there's that story on Gates. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Like I said, Gates was never one of my favorite, has never been one of my favorite people. He's a firebrand. Yes, we need firebrands in the Congress. We need people to speak up and just raise hell. As much as I don't like her, AOC is the Democrats, or was the Democrats' firebrand. She's toned down quite a bit here since her reelection, her first reelection. Her first 2 years, though, she was god awful all mouth. MTG and Gates were two of the firebrands for the Republican in the House. And while I could not be friends with either one of them, I appreciate the position that they hold because they don't hold nothing back. So, but that's me. That's my opinion and my opinion only. Okay. I can cancel that one. Oh, I promised. Hey, Raman, I'm sorry. I know I promised I was going to open with this. I mean, yeah, I know it's past Halloween, but Raman sent this to me yesterday. And I've just got, I don't understand why this hurts people's souls as much as it does. But then I was not the target audience for the never-ending story.
Turn around, look at what you see.
Like I said, I wasn't the target audience for this show. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen the movie. In fact, I know I've never seen the movie. But I guess this movie got a lot of people right in their feels. How my the first oh, you guys couldn't see that video? Ramen, y'all couldn't see that video? If you couldn't see it, I'll redo it. Do. Okay.
Look at what you see in the face, the mirror of your dream. Make believe I'll never.
Like I said, this seemed to hurt some people right in the feels. I don't know why, but it did.
Turn around, look at what you see in the face,
So,
the mirror of your dream.
sorry that got you guys in your feels. There it is. Let me close that because I don't need to keep hearing that music. And no, I don't want email coming up. All right. Well, Raman, you sent it to me, so. Okay, so what are we doing here? I don't want to do that yet. Don't want to do that. No, I don't want that. Okay. Michael Strahan this weekend on Veterans Day of all days, he decided for some reason or another that he was on a ship. There we go. He was on a ship. They're playing the national anthem. All the sailors and whatever Marines were on the ship were all standing there saluting. All the people in civilian clothes here have got their hands properly placed over their hearts. And Strahan back here in the corner is just standing there with his hands crossed in front of him. Not a good look. Not a good look. Especially since he was one of the first people to come out supporting Kaepernick back in 2016 kneeling during the national anthem. Especially, remember, Kaepernick started kneeling because not in protest of Black lives or police or anything else. He started kneeling because he wasn't getting his contract signed that he wanted signed. It's a contract dispute. It was only later that it morphed into about police shootings of blacks and everything else. And the NFL broadcasters, because they didn't want to get all the black people, black players who are the vast majority of players in the NFL, and the black fans didn't want to get them all upset and angry with them. Couldn't care about getting the rest of us angry because, I mean, we're only white people. Allowed the NFL players to take a knee. They protested during the national anthem. And Strahan was one of the first to come out and publicly support Kaepernick in doing it. Well, then Kaepernick, so Strahan now is standing there with his hands crossed. And he refuses to answer any questions about it at first. While a Daily Mail reporter happens to catch him afterwards, catch him out front of his house.
Don't come to my house.
Do you have
Don't
any
come to my
comment?
house,
Why?
man. Come to my house.
Now, I don't care where you live. That is considered assault, if not battery.
Don't come to my house.
That is an arrestable offense.
Why?
Reaching out and grabbing somebody like that when they did not do anything to you. But old Strahan, he's not being touched because Strahan's a TV personality. You and I did that to a reporter. Grabbed a hold of them, grabbed a hold of their camera. We'd been arrested. There have been charges taken to the DA about it, no questions asked. Well, Strahan comes out with this limp ass excuse the day afterwards.
I want to address what happened this past weekend, and I feel like I need to address it because it spilled over to the point where I get out of my car today and I'm ambushed by a media outlet here at my house, which I'm not proud of the way I handled that whole situation.
Make that two situations for Michael Strahan, who's facing down another controversy over the national anthem after not holding his hand over his heart during the Veterans Day performance.
I didn't have my hand over my chest. Everyone thought he's protesting. I have nothing to protest. I have no statement to be made. The only statement that should be made and that I want to make is I love the military and I will always love the military.
I think I've learned not to be afraid to fail
and that failure is a lesson.
Mike learning plenty on Tuesday
They're coming out and making excuses for him.
outside his home, with footage obtained by the Daily Mail showing one reporter asking about the backlash, prompting the GMA anchor to snatch and toss the journo's phone.
I'm not proud of the way I handled that whole situation, but I think anybody out there can understand the things you're going to do. You're going to protect your family, and you're going to protect your home.
You're going to protect your family and you're going to protect your home from the camera. That deadly camera. Just count the deaths that have been caused by a camera. Just clicking that photo, it sucks your soul right out of you, doesn't it, Michael?
Which is what I felt like I needed to do in that moment.
As for his
Yeah, he needed to protect himself. I think that's
product display.
And if you want the truth, I'll tell you the truth, is that I was caught up in the moment. I'm looking at all these young sailors standing there at attention before the national anthem played, and I'm thinking to myself, how incredible. My brother, my sister, my cousins, they all served in the military. I'm a military brat. And if that offended any of our military and veterans, I apologize to you because that was never my intent.
I go to my grandson's ball games. He's got ball games twice a week. I go to these ball games. They play the national anthem at the ball games. There's always a little dump or something like that before you start the national anthem on military. He saw people saluting. He saw people putting their hands over their hearts. Hey, Fury afternoon, sir. And he still stood there with his hands crossed in front of him. I can't buy his excuse. I can't buy his excuse that he was just caught up in the moment. I don't buy it. Not when you're surrounded by military and you're watching them salute and you're hearing the music. And if you grew up on a military base, they played taps every evening. Even the kids stop, turn and face the music or the flag if they can see it. That's taught to you, that's ingrained into you. Just a couple weeks ago, I was out on base, out there at Tyndall. And they started playing. I stopped what I was doing. I could see the flag, so I faced the flag and I placed my hand over my heart. It gets that ingrained into you when you're around the military. I probably wouldn't be so hard on Michael if it wasn't for the fact that he supported the protests and the kneeling at the national anthem for all those years. Especially if now he wants to use his family's military experiences as an excuse for now. So I'm sorry, Michael. You know, your past belies what you're saying now. Your apology sounds awfully damn weak to me. Okay, Fury, you know, that was awful nice of you. I was going to leave the Strahan thing go. I was going to let all this go. I wasn't going to say anything about it. But his weak ass apology and using, well, I'm a military brat. My brothers and sisters and cousins are all in the military. That sounds an awful lot like, well, I can't be a racist because I've got a black friend. And Strahan, I know you don't accept that as a excuse. You don't. You. I know you don't accept that. So now Fox has already announced that they're not going to fire him, and that they're not going to fine him or anything else. And the NFL isn't going to do anything about it. Even though a 49ers player, Nick Bossa, got fined $11,000 for wearing a MAGA hat in a post-game interview. The NFL was quick to fine him that. Once again, the NFL never fined a single player for kneeling during the national anthem. They never fined Kaepernick. They never took steps to Kaepernick. But 49ers players gets fined $11,000 for wearing a MAGA hat. Fury, almost all my socks. I don't think I own any white socks. All my socks are black. Especially my compression socks. And since 90% of my socks are compression socks, yeah, they're all black. So once again, it's the pure hypocrisy here that gets me. Some people in the NFL get away with their displaying or articulating or whatever they want, political motives, political aspirations, political opinions, and other people can't. All depends on how many oppression points, that you or your opinion has, Oh, women, they're fining people for wearing a poppy, Fury. Now, I saw something the other day, Fury. Let's see here. UK. Okay, this UK law that just went into effect. All right, that 15-year sentence for looking at propaganda. And the initial story when it came out was that if you watched right wing, or what the UK government considered radical right wing material on the internet, you could be arrested and charged under the terrorism acts and up to a 15-year imprisonment. How can you consider a political symbol the poppy? Oh my God. For those that don't know, the poppy is Remembrance Day for fallen military, because they line the field of poppies. I'm trying to remember if it was a poem or a song that came from. You see the same thing in Canada on their Remembrance Day. So anyway, Flanders Field poem. Thank you, Fury. It's been a while since I've read the poem, Flanders Field. But the quote unquote terrorism law experts are telling people that the law is aimed at people who repeatedly look at or download terrorist content. And then, if only they clearly intend to take part and support terrorist activities. But being as you can be sent to jail in the UK for silently praying outside of across the street from an abortion clinic, silently praying in your mind, you're praying across the street from an abortion clinic. That's an arrestable and imprisonable act in the UK. So that law that they're passing is a scary law, because it's they're really going to thought police. Over there, they're taking 1984 as an instruction handbook over there. I'm sorry, Fury, but that's the way it's looking at now. If I make you angry at me, Fury, I apologize, but that's just the way I see it. Now, the Daily Wire has they've Daily Caller, rather, not Daily Wire, but the Daily Caller has had some fun here. And they shared this on Twitter. I believe this was yesterday. Make sure the volume's turned up enough. All right, this Kamala, there she's dancing to a chant, up, up with education, down, down with deportation. And she's standing there dancing and clapping and smiling and laughing at it.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
This guy, the look on this guy's face reminds me of my father. When he had that expression on his face, that was the, I'm not goofing around, I'm not joking. Listen to what I'm saying, because I'm only saying it one time. I will not repeat myself. And that's the expression I'm seeing right there on his face.
We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I hear a lot of people say, the talk of a mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community.
Is there a
It should be threatening to the illegal. Exactly. If you crossed our border illegally, this, of all the appointments Trump has made, this one is the one I stand 100% behind. Of all the appointments he's announced, this is one I stand 100% behind.
A way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there's. Families can be deported together.
It is not an emergency. We are not facing a crisis.
We have a president of the United States who has created a fiction about a crisis at the border, and he has held up the United States government and its workers around his vanity project called a wall.
To the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
I agree with the sentiment, but I don't see how they can legally do that without technically invading Mexico. Mexico will not allow American forces to go after the cartels in Mexico. That's been approached time after time after time. The Mexican government will not allow it.
The idea that he is trying to say that we have people that are trying to invade our country to commit mass crime is a crisis of his own making.
I specialize in transnational criminal organizations. Yeah. That wall ain't gonna stop them. No.
There's a 600% increase in sex trafficking of women and children. Border Patrol has arrested more terrorists coming across the border in 1 month than Trump had in 4 years. This is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever had. Donald Trump would be the president. I'll be in the middle of running the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
Read up on Operation Wetback. That was, and as offensive as that name is now, read up on Operation Wetback if you want to have a little bit of history on deportation policies.
I am not for a wall. We don't need to build a wall. This is a crisis of his own making. The President of the United States has a vanity project that he doesn't want to give up. It's the president's vanity project. This issue is about a vanity project for this president.
Right. The president's vanity project?
Once she comes up with a name, it's like she's got a little tape recorder inside of the back of her head. You hit that switch and that little nickname comes out time after time after time.
Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances. It will not end with a wall. It will not end with a wall.
It will not end with a wall?
No.
All right.
He comes back, I come back, we fix this shit.
Now remember, Kamala was running ads talking about how she was going to curtail some of the illegal immigration, showing pictures of Trump's wall. She was using Trump's wall for her own advertisements, saying that that's how she was going to stop illegal immigration. The last 3 months, 3 months ago, the Biden administration started actually working on curtailing illegals. You're exactly right, Fury. The number shit's given is less than zero. There was a recent article the Federation for American Immigration Reform estimates the net cost of illegal immigration U.S. taxpayers for 2023, that's just 2023, was $150.7 billion. It was $116 billion in 2017. $150 billion is the estimate. So, yeah, you get these people telling us that the illegal immigration, while they buy stuff, they pay taxes, yada 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 yada. But the overall cost, as far as outweighs what they put back into the system. How much was the wall again? Yeah, it was like $15 billion for the price of the wall. Cost of the wall. Trump's wall was let's see here. Oh, come on. Give me a damn number between 12 and 28 billion. The cost of the wall of Mexico has been estimated to be between 12 and 28 billion dollars. All right, and then a five $5 billion to cover replacement of old wall that needs to be replaced. So a new wall is going to be between 12 and 28 billion, and then to repair or replace old pieces of the wall which has been destroyed or made ineffectual was another 5 billion. So if we're spending $150 billion a year on illegals now, 28 billion is a hell of a lot of savings. Let's say it costs us 28 billion to finish building the wall and $5 billion a year to maintain it. That $150 billion we've already spent would cover, let's see, that'd be 50, 70. So let's see here. That'd cover 20 years worth of building and maintaining the wall along the southern border. 1 year's of what it cost us to take care, to house, feed, medical illegal would cover 20 some years worth of building and maintenance on a wall along the southern border. It sounds like a pretty damn good cost savings to me. Sound like damn good cost savings to me. But then we've got states like California, Illinois, New York. You see, the Democrats, they took Republican state governors to court. The Biden administration took governors to court, Texas and Florida and such, to say that that immigration is strictly a federal issue. The states don't have a right to deal with immigration issues. And for the most part, they won. They won. So now we have these sanctuary states and sanctuary cities that say they're going to use their state laws to protect illegals within their states. They're not going to allow their state employees to aid federal employees in deportation. Of illegals.
We also want to make sure that there isn't a violation of people's rights with, raids, for example, that are done in coordination with local law enforcement on people who are frankly, holding down jobs and have been in this country for many, many years.
If they're in the country illegally, it doesn't matter how many years they've been here or how many jobs they are holding down. They are still in the country illegally. They have stolen a job from an American citizen.
We think that's improper, and in Illinois, that's not something that we would condone. There's been some talk about using other states' National Guard, red state National Guards to somehow come into a blue state and try and enforce these new Stephen Miller inspired rules. And that's just not something we're going to accept. But we also want to make sure that there isn't a violation of people's rights.
Pritzker, this is my opinion, people. What you hear here, unless I am reading it from the newspaper, a lot of this, what you're hearing here, is my opinion. And it is my opinion that illegals don't have any rights under the Constitution. They don't have rights under our Constitution. It's that simple. Okay? They don't have a right to a trial. They entered our country illegally. They don't have civil rights. You deport them. As I said before, I want to see a double wall along the southern border. I really, truly do. With a 100-yard barrier in between the two walls. No vegetation, no nothing in between them two walls. Nothing but dirt. No place for illegals to hide once they cross the first wall. Fury? Yes, exactly. Unless you can prove you are a net benefit to Canada, you will be denied. And that is Canada. I played that the other day. Trudeau, Castro's son, said that. So I've got no problems. I've got no problem. If you've entered the country legally, pick them up and take them to the border and drop them off. Load them on a boat, take them across the border, drop them off. Put them on a plane, take them across the border, and drop them off. I don't care how they get across the border. You can put parachutes on them and drop them off. I don't care. They came in our country legally. And they have sucked at our government's teats now for way too damn long. Since before Reagan was president. And them lying bastard Democrats who lied to Reagan's face and lied to the American people when they agreed to end illegal immigration at the southern border, if only Reagan would give amnesty to the illegals that were already in the country. Reagan, infamous for his trust but verify, never verified the Democrats that they would actually do what they did, what they were supposed to do, what the agreement was. And this is that is the main reason why I could never be a Democrat. That alone was the main reason why I could never be a Democrat, because the Democrats have never taken border security as serious. Not in my adult lifetime. They've never taken border security as serious. It's a turnstile to them. It's open, wide open. And if for no other reason, if you cannot say that we have a border and our border is to be secure, like you secure your house, all these Democrats that want open borders but have walls around their homes and private security patrolling their homes from American citizens, they're more afraid of American citizens than they are of illegals. I know I'm sounding like a damn broken record on this. Going back over and over, saying the same things over day to day. Every time I talk about illegal immigration. But I honestly believe illegal immigration in the Second Amendment. The right to protect yourself. To keep and bear arms in order to protect yourself. We need to be able to protect our country. And we can't protect our country unless we have secure borders. Watch Danger TV on YouTube. And going into Australia. Yeah, I understand Australia is a big island. So you only get there by boat or plane. One or the other. But watch how many people they turn away on a daily basis that they put up in a little room until they've got another flight going back to their home country or whatever country they flew in from. Why we don't have border security confuses the hell out of me. You're willing to protect your home with locked doors, fences, and fancy security systems, but you're not willing to protect your country. You protect your property from other people walking on your grass. Just walking on your grass at your house. But you're not willing to protect your country, the border of your country. It makes no sense to me how people could think that way. You're absolutely right, Fury. It is a huge island. You're absolutely right. What do I got here? All right, let's take a look at the other thing I had on my thumbnail for the day. Okay, this here is from last April. State law takes the U.S. a step closer to popular vote deciding presidential elections. Maine is the latest state to pass a national popular vote legislation law. After much public debate, a Maine law has brought the country closer to having a popular vote determine the winner of the national presidential elections. Earlier this week, Maine Governor Janet Mills allowed a bill to become law without her signature that would take effect once the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact is able to gather pledges for at least 270 electoral votes, the number of delegate votes needed to elect a president. The movement has now gathered pledges from 17 states and Washington, D.C., accounting for 209 electoral votes. All right. So those are the states. Now remember, Trump got the popular vote this year. These people have done this because in the past, like Al Gore, Hillary Clinton, they supposedly won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College. But these states, now these states all went blue. Okay. Let me make certain I'm right about this. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So back to the article. The movement seeks to change the way the president is chosen without constitutional amendment, but experts say it's unclear what happens when enough states have signed on. It's unlikely this will happen before the election. Yes, we know it was. The National Popular Vote Interstate Compact seeks to guarantee the candidate who receives the most popular votes in all 50 states in the District of Columbia wins the presidency. In other words, to hell with states' rights. We will no longer be a union of 50 states, individuals and sovereign states. We're just going to be one big ass country, and the states will be nothing more than what counties are or regions are in France and in provinces in Canada. The National Popular Interstate Compact says they'll give each vote equal weight regardless of where the voter lives. Because, see, a lot of these people think it's unfair that each state in the Electoral College has at least 2 votes. They think that's unfair because more people live in California than they do in Iowa or Wyoming or Montana. How dare, it's like, the Senate. How dare a state how dare Wyoming have 2 senators and California only have 2 senators? How dare that happen? California should have more representation in the Senate because they got more people. But that's not the way the system was set up. Your representation is in the House of Representatives. The state has their representation in the Senate. It wasn't until the direct election of senators the 17th Amendment in 2019 It wasn't until the 2019, a little over 100 years ago, that the people vote for the Senate, for your senators. Before then, your state legislature, your governor selected your senators. Because the senator's job was there to represent the state, not the people. They're there to represent the rights and responsibilities and to safeguard the authority of the states. Of course, that's not what they do anymore. That's not the way it's worked now. Because of the simple fact, that uh, because the 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment restricting the federal government to only the powers outlined in the Constitution and all other rights delegated to the state or to the people. All other powers. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states or reserved to the states respectively or to the people. But the way they are going about this, they are taking away the rights of the states and the rights of the people. The right of the states, of the people of each state to have a say in who is to be the president. They're trying to take that away with this. Now, it's going to be a good question as to whether or not this will, nobody's ever taken it up to the Supreme Court. And it's going to be an interesting question if it ever does get before the Supreme Court. Because the states are allowed to allocate their electoral votes as they wish. But this compact flies in the face of the Constitution. But if, let's say this compact had been in place in time, this is what the electoral map would have looked like. Kamala would have gotten Maine, and Donald Trump would have gotten every other state. Because every state that's in the compact and Maine's not. Maine's the only northeastern state that's not in the compact. Every other state, including California, would have had to give their votes to Trump, their electoral college votes. So the electoral college would have been 534 to 4. Oh, don't that suck for the Democrats? Do you think this will cause some of these states to reconsider having this compact. Trump ought to be taking out ads showing this map in California. The Republican Party ought to be taking these ads out. In California, Washington State, New York, Oregon. Saying thank you for your potential electoral votes. I appreciate them. That is one hell of a red map. I don't know if these states are smart enough to understand. See, they think by using this that, like Democrats all the time. Democrats all the time get confused and think that what they want to use to keep in power can never be used against them. It happens time after time after time after time. And they never learn their lesson because they think they're always going to be in control of the House. They think they're always going to be in control of the Senate. Jay Appel out of Washington. She has been pushing for the past 4 years to get rid of the filibuster out of the Senate. Because she didn't like the fact that the Republicans were filibustering some of the programs, some of the plans the Democrats had. So she'd been pushing and pushing hard to get the filibuster removed out of the Senate. But now that the Senate's in the Republican control, somebody asked her about it, and she says, oh no, now I'm not for it anymore. I want to be able to filibuster the Republicans. When she thought the power would always be in her hands, she didn't want the Republicans who were in the minority, she didn't want them to be able to block her plans. But now that she's in the minority, she wants to use the power that she wanted to deny the Republicans. Just like going from voting on judges, from its used to be all judicial nominees had to have a super majority vote, 60 vote in the Senate. Then Harry Reid reduced it down to a simple majority. And Mitch McConnell, in one of the few moments that he did something that I could actually almost agree with, he warned Harry Reid that if he did that, the Republicans, when they got control of the Senate, would do the same thing for the Supreme Court. Well, Harry Reid and his blind ass grab for power, trying to make certain that Obama had every judicial nominee that he could push through, ignored that warning. He ignored it. And look what happened. Very next election cycle, Republicans could take control of the Senate. And Trump was able to start naming nominees to the Supreme Court. And now Biden was, and the Democrats were, demanding that they add new seats to the Supreme Court. Because they can't handle having one more conservative justice, so-called conservative justice on the Supreme Court than they had liberals. They just couldn't handle it. The Democrats are, they cannot simply learn a lesson. There we go. Here's a map of the states. The green states are the ones who are 100. They've already signed into and are part of the compact. Yellow states will be. Nevada will be. Michigan will be. Virginia will be. North Carolina will be. Pennsylvania will be members of that compact later on. Oh, so will Nevada. Okay, yeah, I mentioned Nevada. So yeah, these guys are, they're slowly but surely eroding our founders, our constitutional rights as a country, as states, as individuals. They're slowly. The Democrats are doing it. Yeah, Neil, you're exactly right about that. Yep. But they dropped the charges on him, didn't they? I don't know, Fury. I'm afraid that if the Senate, how do I don't want to sound so pessimistic. I really don't. Because I really love this country. I really and truly do. I don't want to sound so pessimistic. The Supreme Court judges were granted lifetime positions to keep them from being political. They're supposed to try to keep them apolitical as much as possible. So that the rulings coming from the Supreme Courts and from the courts in general would align and would be fairly consistent. But as we can see, I am honestly scared. If I were deep in a drink, which I have not, well, I did have a sip of some Jameson's last night. But if I was deep in drink and Jameson's was helping me talk, I would say some things that truly scare me. So this whole mess here at the Electoral College. Oh, I'm trying to remember what Fetterman said here. I've got this screen here, for Fetterman, and I don't remember what it was he said as to why I wanted to share it. So let's listen to it. Let's listen to this guy who sometimes here makes sense.
I mean, I would describe it as God tier level trolling to just trigger a full on China syndrome.
He's talking about some of Trump's nominees, like Matt Gaetz. That's God tier level trolling of the American people, well, of the Democrats.
To own the libs in perpetuity. I mean, I would describe it as God tier level trolling to just trigger a full on China syndrome to own the libs in perpetuity.
And I can see Trump doing that. I can see Trump doing that. Okay, going back to Matt Gaetz. Okay, we know Rick Scott is going to go to work for Trump. Okay. And so DeSantis is going to have to appoint a new senator. There's been some talk, whispers in the wind, that he's going to appoint Matt Gaetz. Now, you remember that newspaper article showed earlier, Matt Gaetz had a House ethics investigation against him. So then all they would do is open up a Senate investigation against him using whatever was found in the House. So who knows what's going on with Matt Gaetz? So who in the hell knows what's going on with Matt Gaetz? Because I sure don't. All right, these next ones here are pretty much all for fun. All right, let me close that because that tab has got absolutely nothing to going on. Okay, that's that. Okay. And that should be that there. Okay. I already know what I want to close with. So Doug Emhoff and Waltz were out doing a little meeting of the little people the other day. And they went into a coffee/tea house. And this is how that went. Okay, that's Emhoff. That's Waltz, of course. You just saw him hand Emhoff whatever it was he's drinking. And they just walk off. They walked off without paying.
Thank you so much. And someone will be up here today. Right? No, like he's coming. Thank you so much.
A young lady there, we'll have somebody come up here and pay for all this stuff that you just gave out. We're not going to make you give this stuff to us for free. Now, when Trump has gone out, he's pulled money out of his pocket to pay for it, to pay for stuff. But these guys, they just walk away like it's nothing, like they're used to getting everything handed to them for free.
Thank you so much.
And that leaves it up to this young lady here to save their asses. Now, another appointment that I've liked here has been Rubio. But again, though, Rubio's a sitting senator. And he got he got they tried to ambush Rubio here.
No, I will not. On the contrary. Are you filming it? So I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being...
These Palestinian supporters here, they're thinking they're going to get Rubio. They're thinking they're going to get him. Now, Rubio was a neocon for quite a few years. But here lately, he's done some to redeem himself. I've said that the other day, that Rubio's been redeeming himself in my eyes.
Military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
These Palestinian supporters think they're going to be getting. Yeah, Rubio's out of Florida. So, yeah, Rick Scott's not going to the cabinet. Rick Scott was in the far back running for Senate Majority Leader. Mitch McConnell, rather than waiting for all the new senators to be signed in and picking a new Senate Majority Leader, he played a dirty deal and got John Thune in a secret ballot elected Senate Majority Leader for the next Senate. And that is just plain dirty. I hope that we've got some Republican senators that do in the Senate what Matt Gaetz and others did in the House when they forced the vote that got Johnson elected. I really and truly hope they do. Because I do not like the way that this secret ballot was taken that got John Thune, who does not like Trump, does not support Trump's agenda, elected Senate Majority Leader, because the Senate Majority Leader's got so much power. Oops, almost accidentally closed the wrong tab. That would have been ugly. Okay, I already talked about the FEMA worker. So, what's this? Oh, I hate this. Now, there's going to be a lot of people here who are going to disagree with me. I like liverwurst. I like bratwurst. I like now I can't remember the name of it. It's a German way of making up liverwurst. I really like it. Every now and again I'll buy a half a pound of it. Oh, bloodwurst is really good. You're right. I like bloodwurst and currywurst both. Used to get a lot of that when I was in Germany. But this here is an ad that just it made me happy. It made me happy when I saw this ad.
Easy. Struan's Danish liver pate. Food for men.
Oh, I sat there and watched that ad. I probably watched that ad like 5 or 6 times, just back to back to back, and just sat there laughing. That is one of the best ads for liverwurst that I've ever seen. Hey, Silvar, good morning. But that was one of the best ads for liverwurst that I've ever seen. All right, this next video I'm going to show you. This is the last one for the day. Then we're going to call it after this. But this is got me by my heart, pulled my heartstrings.
But then one day I learned the word to say no. The biggest word you ever heard, and this is how it goes. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you always sound conscious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I've seen me special word and then let all three up the team. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you always sound conscious.
So when the cat has got your tongue, there's no need for display. Just look at it, you've got a lot to say.
For example, one day I said it to my girl, and now my girl is my wife. She's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Dick Van Dyke. The man he's got to be getting up there to 100 years. He really does have to be getting up in that close to that 100-year mark. I don't want Dick Buckus. I want Dick Van Dyke. He was born in 1925, so yes, he's 99 years old. He turns 100 next year. And he is, I mean, he's just he's just around. I mean, he's there for the memories of the man. You know, Mary Poppins, of course. The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, his TV show, Dick Van Dyke Show. The movies that he's been in. The man is an American legend. And he's one of those actors that, yes, he is a big time liberal, but he never really he's never really made that part of his personality, going out and doing stupid things. So, but Dick Van Dyke has always been one. I mean, I grew up watching Dick Van Dyke. I grew up watching his show. I grew up watching him. So can't get around the man. He's a fantastic. He's more power to him. May reach 105 and still be able to do what he's doing now. So, and that's all I got for the day, ladies and gents. Y'all try to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. As always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. Let's see here. This is Thursday. That means tomorrow is the Friday fun stream. So no politics or anything else like that. We're just going to have fun tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about something fun, all right? Y'all have a good day.